Hello, everyone that's joining us. There's a few more popping in there, so I'll wait another minute before we get started. I will try fly through it as fast as possible this evening. Okay, I might share my screen to get started. All right, James, you might just confirm if you can see my screen.
I can see it.
Brilliant. Well, welcome everybody this evening. This is going to be a pretty focused webinar. We're going to focus in on dairy this evening. So if you do have any questions, even if it's something that's not directly relating to tonight's webinar, use the Q&R box on the bottom of your screen, and we'll have Katie Rabbit is in the background there who is going to be answering all your questions. So do get them in throughout the webinar. You don't have to wait until the end, and we'll make sure to get to all of them tonight. Anything that isn't answered, I will pass it on to our customer support team, and I will make sure that they get answered over the next day or two. So we'll get started. So you're very welcome tonight. My name is Katie Shanahan, and I'm Content Marketing Executive here for Ireland. I'm joined by James Greavy, who's the Director of Product, and Katie Rabbit there in the background is Customer Onboarding and Support Team Lead. So what we'll be doing tonight, it'll probably be just about half an hour. We're going to try and fly through it. This will be recorded and it will be sent in our monthly newsletter that'll be going before the weekend. So you will have a recording of it to watch back on as well. And for anyone who has missed it, we're going to just give a little brief introduction and a background of Herdwatch. James will then take over and do a demo of the app. He's going to go through bulk tank collection, pasture management, dairy insights, milk recording integration, and then just basically we'll go through a little bit on common questions, tips, different reports. And while James is doing the demo, I'll ask him a few questions that I'll see coming in. So make sure to get your questions in, guys, and we'll make the most of it this evening while James is doing that live demo. So just to give a brief background on Herdwatch. So since Herdwatch launched in 2014, we have been helping our 20,000 members with their herd performance and farm compliance. We have over 21,000 members worldwide, over 2.3 million cattle in the app, over 2 million calf births recorded to date, over 1.7 million sheep managed on the app, and over 750,000 acres mapped on the Herdwatch app. So I'm going to quickly pass over to James. This is going to be the main part of this evening. I'll stop sharing there, James, and you can share your screen.
Okay, look. Thanks, Katie. Good evening, everyone. I will start sharing my screen and I'll bring you through the demo. So we're going to focus tonight on some of the dairy functionality within Herdwatch. And probably one thing that those of you who are used to using Herdwatch might notice straight away is a slightly different interface here. So what I'm actually demoing is our dairy version of our new web app. So this is an entirely new version of Herdwatch that's designed to be displayed on a PC or laptop screen as opposed to a mobile screen. So what I'll do is I'll just jump straight into it. It works the same way as the Herdwatch mobile app. The only core difference is if you think of the app about being able to record information quickly and get snapshots of information, the web app, this version that we're looking at now, is really about being able to see your data and interact with it from more of a management point of view. So hopefully this goes to plan. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk you through the bulk tank collections within Herdwatch. So this is an area that we've been working quite hard on to connect up with all the different dairy processors across the UK and Ireland. And we're making progress bit by bit. So just to navigate there, I go for my side menu. We've got our dairy performance section, which is the same as the mobile app, same core menu items, but you'll just a slightly different way of interacting with it. So I'm going to go to my bulk tank collections. And Katie, can you tell me, has that gone to my bulk tank collection screen?
Yeah, that's it.
Perfect. So what I've done here is this herd is connected to our supplier, our local supplier. So what it's doing is just giving me a summary for this month to date, so for the June period. So what's actually happening here is I've connected up to my local processor, which is Arrivo. So every time milk is collected from my farm, they obviously take a reading of how many liters are collected, and then they test it for the fat, protein, somatic cell count, lactose, all that stuff. And that information now actually flows down into Herdwatch. So you can see it here on a daily basis and then on a monthly basis. So what we're looking at is for the month of June, I can see total liters collected, the protein, the fat, the lactose, the average liters per cow at the moment, average feed per cow. And unfortunately, there's a bit of a bug here that this one number is a little bit bonkers, but something we spotted here on. So that actually is supposed to be giving the liters over the kilograms of feed. Just not doing that at the moment. And then on the bottom table, then it shows me each collection for the month to date. So what this is quite helpful, and what I use this a lot for, is to just see trends in terms of how my protein and fat is changing. So you can see here it's fluctuated quite a lot, gone from started the month at 3.36 to, or at the latest collection 3.68. So really, I suppose what we're trying to do with the bulk tank collections is really join up that production data. So when your milk is collected and you get tested, so we're looking at obviously the yield first of all, the liters first of all, but the fat and the protein, and then joining that back down to how you're feeding and managing your cattle. So we'll get into the pasture management side of things in a little bit, but ultimately what we want to do is try and tie the production of your cows down to the feeding management and ultimately pasture management as well of your animals, and then give you all that in a snapshot on Herdwatch. So then I can see quickly it trends back along. So I can see my somatic cell count has improved dramatically over the past number of weeks, and TBC is pretty centered. So it just allows you to quickly get snapshots and make sure that we're doing the right things. And then I can go back in each individual record. So each time it's collected, I just get a new record here, and it flows in automatically. So the beauty of this is once it's set up, it just works automatically in the background. You can just dip into Herdwatch and check things. So it allows you to tie the bulk collection data with the actual individual milk recording data, which we'll jump onto next, and you can interact with and play around with it. So this is still quite early days in terms of getting connected up, but just to talk a little bit about who we're currently connected with at the moment. So in Ireland, we're connected with Arrivo, Kerry, Agri, and Tirlon. And we have a few others in the pipeline, but we're working through co-ops bit by bit. And if it's a case that your co-op, you're not on one of those lists, reach out to us. What we typically do is ask you to get in contact with your milk quality advisor. They're typically the main point of contact to get us connected up, and we're working through them bit by bit. And we have a number of processors in the background in Ireland that we're working on. And in the UK, working slightly differently in that NML, or National Milk Records, do the testing for almost all the processors. So what we do is, using your NML login details, we actually allow you to connect up and get your test data in there. So your test data for each test will flow into Herdwatch, and all you need to do is add the yield for each collection for the previous one, and that basically gives you the same level of data. So that's everything on the bulk tank collections. It's quite straightforward, but it's very powerful in terms of how you use it every day. So any questions at Katie, or should I just jump on to the next section? You're on mute there.
Sorry. Just how do you link to the milk processor?
Yeah, sorry. Thank you. That was something obvious I left out. So if I go back in here to my bulk tank collections, so because I've connected here, I won't see anything, but if I hadn't connected to a processor, there'd be a big button here that would say connect to your processor. And what that does is basically it sends a form to that co-op to say, I, James Greavy, give permission to Herdwatch to access my milk data for fat, protein, cell, all that kind of stuff. And we send it to them, and then they basically switch something on their side, and it starts flowing down. So it's very, very straightforward once the processor is set up. And again, we're working through this. I suppose the way we work in Herdwatch is to try to do things incrementally and keep sort of improving and adding more stuff all the time. So again, if your processor isn't there, reach out to us, and together we'll go and talk to them and try and get them connected up as well.
Great.
Okay. Will I shoot over to the milk recording side of things? So.
Yeah.
Okay, doke. So again, go back to my dairy performance section here. So Click on that, and I want to see my milk recording. So I've got two options with the milk recording. I've got the herd average. So what we do with the herd average is we basically roll up your previous milk recordings to give you a summarized view. So if I drill in here, it'll show me for the previous test day. It just takes a second to load sometimes. What my collection was. And of course, it's not going to load for me now, typical on a demo. So I might just go back a step here and go to the table. Yeah. So what this is showing me here is the 42 animals that were tested on the last milk recording. So that's on the left-hand side, you'll see all their tag numbers. It's sorted by, so there's a few different ways we can look at this information. We can look at it by our test day, which is basically what the results were in the test day. We can look at it at the year to date. So what is the overall production year to date? Then we can also look at it from a 305-day predicted yield as well. So that obviously rolls up what the algorithm expects your cows to do over an average 305-day lactation. So essentially just a table that you can interact with, so you can see straight away. So that's the cow number, the test date, the date of the milk recording, a freeze brand if your animals have any. My cows don't. The lactation number of that cow. It's last. And keep repeating there. The days of milk and the milk yield. And one of the nice things with this table is that you can actually tap on it and it'll sort high to low or low to high. So I can see I had some cows here doing 40 liters, and I can go back down through to see what way to range. And I can do the same with all these different ones. So one thing that's always quite interesting is go to my somatic cell count and see what cows are potentially giving me trouble. So I can see up here that I have a few quite high somatic cell count cows, like this cow 490 and this cow 303. There's definitely something indicating there, so I know that straight away. I need to do something with them. And also in Ireland, we show the EBI figure of that cow, so what its predicted index is. Now that the pedigree name and the breed percentage breakdown. So just like to see all the sort of relevant data points for that from a after your milk recording. And like we typically tend to use it that you do a milk recording, you check your somatic cell count, and then if a cow with a high cell count, we'll treat it with a garlic bolus or maybe look at some other interventions to try and bring that down. I can also look at it from a different point of view. So I can look at it from a 305-day predicted yield, which will give me, and unfortunately this one is not playing ball either, but those things. I think I've rooted out a lot of bugs this evening, unfortunately. Always good for a demo. So that will give me a 305-day predicted yield, and then the same thing year to date. So that's how it lets me interact with my milk recording data. So along with that as well, you can see your milk recording data on an animal's profile too. So if I go to my herd, again, it's a new way of interacting with your My Herd module. Those of you who aren't used to seeing the web app version will be used to in the list. What we try to do with the web app version is instead of showing lists, showing a table. So you can see all your relevant data across the side, but I can then drill down into a specific animal here and try and find one that actually I know is milk recorded. I can drill into that cow there, and I can see that information there. So I can see the milk recording data actually at that cow level. So I can see her yield, her fat, protein, days in milk, high somatic cell count for that current lactation. So everything in one place really. So it really just lets me sort of have access to your milk recording data when you need it, whether it's on the spot or when you're trying to sit down and make great decisions around what cows I intend to breed from, what cows should I be culling because their cell count is consistently high. It gives you access to all of that. And one of the things that we've done with the web app is try to give a singular view of your animal with all your different data points. So you notice here, this is my herd module, but I can go over here and I can actually add more data points in there. So if I want to go in and add, for example, somatic cell count, I can add the highest somatic cell count and current somatic cell count. So then that lets me have a look and start thinking about, well, what cows are giving me trouble. So I can see 2015 here is giving me a lot of problems. So I can see her cell count was 2000. So something's very, very wrong there. So it allows you to just bring all that animal data into one place and decide, okay, who am I going to cull? who am I going to breed from, and just really, I suppose, make decisions around that. And the beauty of this as well is you can organize actually all these filters and tables in a way that makes sense to you. So you can essentially build your own reports. And if it's a case that you want to go and bring this information out to the yard, I can actually just then go and download this as a PDF report or as a CF3 report. And a lot of our customers will actually create a PDF report and like going out on the yard and actually be able to take certain cows off a list. But this essentially allows you to build your own reports in here and just, I suppose, interact with your own herd data the way you want to. So that's kind of how the milk recording module works, or how you can interact with it. I suppose how we get data then is the next piece. So within Ireland, we get the milk recording data down through our integration with ICBF. So ICBF handle the milk recording data for Munster Bovine and Progressive Genetics, who are the two main milk recording organizations. Once that you've integrated with ICBF and you've done the milk recording, that information flows down automatically into Herdwatch. And then on the UK side, we integrate with the three milk recording organizations. So there is CIS, NMR, and QMMS, and they all work slightly differently in that CIS is basically I suppose from a technical point of view, they all work slightly differently. From a customer point of view, it all works the same. So that basically, once you're doing milk recording, that data will flow into Herdwatch, and probably rather getting into the specifics of it. Within actually Herdwatch, we have help articles that explain the details of connecting each one of these, and I can actually quickly show you that as well. That might be quite helpful. But in general, if you are having trouble connecting up with any of these, just reach out to us through either to our support lines or actually give us a call. One other thing that's for getting the milk recording data in once you have milk recorded. Another piece that we brought in as well over the past sort of probably 12 months or that is the milk recorder extract. So that's the file that the milk recorder, and this is specifically for the UK audience, but the file that the milk recorder gets off you before carrying out the milk recording, you can produce that in Herdwatch now. So that you can give it to them and they can upload it into their system so they have the latest information about your cows. So calving dates, dry offs, serves, any of those relevant events. To get them, essentially, we just need to go into our management section, go into reports. If I go to my all reports here and I just search extract, should be at least apologies, I'm in an Irish herd, so I actually don't have this report. But if I go into all reports and just look for milk extract report, what that will do is it'll produce a report in the format for whatever milk recording organization that you're integrating with. So it's very, very straightforward. But again, if you have any issues, just give us a call on that. Katie, have I missed that in there from a recording point of view?
There's just a question in how do you link with them, but you might as well go through them all. It's from an Irish customer, but you might as well just go through how do you link with all these different integrations.
Yeah. So we'll start with Irish side of things first of all. So I go down here to the bottom left and go to my settings, and we'll just go to general settings here. And if I scroll down here, I should be able to see ICBF somewhere. I am appear to be stone blind. Yeah. So here there'll be a big button that says sync with ICBF, and you click on that, you'll enter your ICBF username and password, and that will actually just then automatically sync up with ICBF, and that night it'll pull on all your milk recording data. So that just happens automatically in the background. Then on the UK side, so with CIS, you have to send them a form, and that's available on our help articles. So if you go to help.herdwatch.com, that'll actually show you how to do that. So, or even down here, help articles, I can just ask a question or download the form and just send it on to them. That give us permission to access your milk recording data and breeding data for you. For NMR, you have to basically, if you give us access to your NML or NMR login details, we'll access that data for you. And then finally for QMMS, apologies for all the acronyms, you basically just need to contact them directly and say you're a Herdwatch customer, and then we have a process built in there as well. So yeah, that's think that's kind of covered it off. And like again, happy to go into specifics in the Q&A on any questions around that. But it's ultimately what I suppose the purpose of what we're trying to do here is bring all your herd data together into one place that you can actually interact with it and make use of it when you're down the pit or when you're sitting in front of the computer and even you're trying to decide what cows do I keep, what heifers should I keep, and who should I be culling. It sort of brings all that data together in a way that you can actually make better and more informed decisions using all the data that you have, and not, rather than having it in many different places. It's one unified view. Um,
Sorry, James, just a
so
general question has come in there. Someone's asking, how do they get this big screen version that you're on as opposed to the
so
phone?
So that's very straightforward. If you just go onto our website and go to Herdwatch, you'll see there's a login button on the top right of the screen. You just click on that and enter your Herdwatch username and password, and that'll bring you straight in. So obviously this will only appear on a sort of a desktop or a kind of laptop design. You can actually use it on an iPad as well, but you need to have the iPad in landscape mode, the one that I've heard sideways, because otherwise it goes into mobile mode. So it just what it knows is it looks at the shape of the screen and it thinks this information will look better on a wider screen than it'll display in this.
Perfect. Yeah.
Um, and again, this is very new, so we're always looking forward to getting more feedback. But the big goal with this has been to try and make it so you can build your own reports and interact with your farm data in the way that makes sense for your herd. And actually, sorry, something I didn't show. You can sort and filter on any table here. So these are all my different columns. I can create filters across any of these. I can rearrange them whatever way I want. There's lots more data I can add along the side here as well. So ultimately, every data point that's available for an animal in your herd, it should be available through here. And that then allows you to sort and filter in whatever way makes sense to you, because we know every farmer is different. Everyone wants to do their own thing, pull their own reports. This gives farmers the ability to do that. Should we move on to the pasture side of things, or does that else we
Yeah,
need to cover
yeah.
off?
You can move on to the pasture. And if anyone has any questions on what James has demoed so far, we can come back to them at the end. But James, if you want to move on to the pasture side of things, and people, you can be getting your
Okay.
questions into the Q&A box.
Okay, super. So just what I need to do here is, I suppose I think I mentioned this already, but what we really did is we rebuilt the Herdwatch app from the ground up to make it suitable for the for a basically for a PC screen for a web app. So we have our dairy, cattle, and sheep solutions built in this new format. For pasture, it's currently still on the mobile version. So what I need to do is to get the pasture, I'll just return to the old version quickly, which allows me then to go in here to my apps and switch to pasture. And again, for those of you who aren't aware, Pasture is a separate module that's available for all our customers. It's available fully on our complete plan. But what it allows you to do is basically allow you to manage your pasture and your fields, I suppose, with the same level of granularity that you can with your animals. And the whole idea is that in the same way, every cow, every animal has an individual ID. Every field has an individual ID, and every time you record something, it builds up over time. So what I'll just jump straight into here is demoing one of the newest pieces of functionality that we launched early this year, which is a grazing management module. So I'll just zoom in here. So essentially what this allows us to do is actually link animals to fields. So it allows us to do a few things. One, it allows you to visually see what animals are in what fields. So if you're running multiple grazing blocks where you have cows in one group, heifers in another group, calves in another group, you can then see where all our animals are. So for the case that you're getting staff to check animals, do a count of them, you can quickly see from the map. But then it also allows you to link animals to specific fields. So then if we go back to our bulk tank collections, we can see if performance increases or decreases in certain fields. So you might see your protein drops off a cliff when cows go into a particular field. It allows us to tie all that information together and really build a really granular view of what are the fields that animals are performing particularly well on, and what are the fields they're not. And then finally, it basically gives you a really simple way of recording grazing management. So if you're not inclined to do weekly grass walks, you can actually still use this to record how long cattle were in each field, how many grazings you got per year, how many grazing days. So these are my 45 cows currently grazing this field, and I actually need to record a movement because they're no longer there. They've moved from different fields, so I'm going to just, in order to move them, it's quite easy. All I do is literally click on it and drag and drop. So I can drag it from this field into that field. And then that basically creates a record. So it asks me, do I want to move the mob of milking cows to the field behind the pin? I'm going to do it for this date. So I can just click here, save here, and that will automatically move them in. But actually, I need to edit that because they actually went into this field this morning. So it's going to change that because it went in at 8:30 after milking this morning. And save that now. So you might know here that I can actually also enter an entry cover and an exit cover here if I want. And let's go save. And that records that grazing event then. So that's a super handy way of recording grazings for animals, knowing where your animals are, and just having a view of everything. But if I wanted then to click on that, what we call these are essentially mobs. So it's a new type of grouping functionality that we built, where it's a little bit different from our current groups in that an animal can only belong to one mob at a time, whereas an animal can belong to many groups. And it just means it allows us to tie animals to a specific location. And as we start to roll out our feed management solutions later on in the year, we'll be using that then to tie animals back to sheds for feeding and all that. So I can then click on my mob there and I can see any animals in that group today, that mob today, and a history of what animals within and without the fields, how it got updated. As animals leave, it creates just an audit trail for animals moving in and moving out of fields and moving in and out of those groups as well. So it's very powerful and also very simple to use to just record and keep on top of your grazing and grass measurement. So that's the, I just probably zoom up here. We're actually having a small handful of animals up here as well. So again, let's quickly see there's 4.5 miles between these two locations. We just see where animals are. So if you're sending someone to go check animals, it's very, very easy for them to know where animals are, where they should be, particularly if you're sending someone else who's not maybe that familiar with your stock numbers. It's probably worth touching as well on the grass management side of things. So one of the things we also released last year is the ability to record a grass walk. So for those of you who do the weekly grass measurement, you can record that through Herdwatch. So I basically have a grass measurement here. And in Ireland, what we actually do is we actually integrate with Pasture Base Ireland. So in the case you want to record your grass walks through Herdwatch, you can toggle this box here, and that will send your information to Pasture Base Ireland, which means particularly if you're in a derogation and you need to record 20 walks per year, you can record this information through Herdwatch and you'll be compliant. And actually down here we have a handy little guide for how you actually measure grass. So this is a method I personally learned about it a couple of years ago, where it's like the fist method, where each fist is 500 kilograms of dry matter. So if you want to be aiming for grazing and paddock at 1,500 kilograms, basically 3 fists stacked on top of each other gives you that. So it's a handy guide for yourself to go out and measure. And then basically go in here. I can pick my fields, or I can actually record from my grazing map as well. So I can zoom in here and just pick my first field, and you just record your cover and go on to the next field. So that's a very handy way and fast way of recording. And typically I use the map to go around and walk through each field as I'm recording grass each week. So that's the grass measurement side of things and the pasture management. Again, happy to talk through any questions around it. Katie, tell me if I've forgotten anything obvious.
Yeah, no, the question literally came in about Pasture Base just as you answered it live. So I hope that answered your question to the man that asked.
Yeah, just on the Pasture Base. So there is an initial setup stage where you'll just need to give Pasture Base Ireland a call to say, I'm using Herdwatch across grass measurement, and they'll turn something on their side, which lets them receive the grass measurement. But it's again, if you go into our help articles down here, you or give us a call. It'll explain in depth what you need to do. It's very, very straightforward. That's the initial setup. Once it's done, once it's done.
James, there's another question just to show if you could demo the bulk animal edit feature.
No problem. What I'll do is go back here to the cattle side of things. So if I want to go here and find, if I want to find any task, I can basically tap on the search icon here, where it says what would you like to do. We want to go to bulk, and we want to go bulk animal edit. So I just tap on that. This is a handy way of finding records in Herdwatch. And on this, I can update a number of things. I can update the animal purpose, where I bought her from, the lactation, and I can add labels to it. Particularly like lactation, updating lactation can be quite handy, particularly for buying in animals, and you want to say they're actually their second calf or cows, or their first calf on heifers. You just click the thing you want to update, go next, and then I pick the animals here that I want to update, or I can go from a group, select all them, and save, and that updates them all using the bulk animal edit.
Perfect. Yeah, that question just came in from Sally. She said that we have beef stock on our holding as well as dairy. How do I make sure the home screen is only tracking the dairy animals and not the beef stock? So Katie did answer it in the background, but it was no harm in showing how to do that live as well.
Okay. And did I answer with the beef stock in terms of yeah? So was that question answered, Katie?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
Perfect.
Just she wanted to basically only track the dairy cows, so just to change the purpose of them.
Yeah.
But Katie answered in the
Uh,
background as well.
Yeah, and within the herd as well, you can also use groups. So you can also create sorry, skip my little tours there. You create groups of, you might have high yielders, low yielders. You can create groups in here within that too as well, which allows you to group animals in whatever way makes sense to you. You might keep your beef cows together or your beef stock, and there's a huge amount of flexibility in terms of how you want to group or manage your animals. Um,
Just another question that came in about freeze brands. Can they be added?
Absolutely. So there's two ways of adding freeze brands to animals. There is basically, you can go on to each animal here, onto any animal, and if you hit your three dots here in the top right, you can edit it, and then you can add a freeze brand here. So you can update a lot of information on the animal. So just pop that in and save it. Or alternatively, if you have a list of freeze brands, like an Excel or a CSV or a PDF, if you email that to us, we can automatically upload that for you in the background and save you all that recording. Because farmers you can have a lot of freeze brands to add.
Just probably a new Irish member just asked, how do they link to Ag Foods?
Okay, so the ag food again is relatively straightforward. So you will need your ag food login details. So your username, your pack, and your password. Log into ag food, and you'll see within the animal identifications and movement section, there's a section there that says link to farm software provider. If you tick on that and follow the steps, that basically syncs us up. And once you do that, we'll have your herd details within 2 minutes.
Brilliant.
But again, I would sort of any questions in general, go down to our help section here and either search. You'll see there's a number of articles here. You can search for help with our articles, or you can literally just write us a message and ask us the question directly, and we'll come back to you either via message or over the phone. I see there's a message in there about using an EID reader to upload a group. So this is actually functionality that we've actually relatively recently brought out, where if you want to use, particularly for sheep farmers, if our farmers managing large number of animals, If you want to just use the wand independently and say you're worming or drenching a pile of animals, you can actually scan all those tags and then separately come back, create a group within your EID reader, scan those tags, and then come back to Herdwatch later and upload that group to Herdwatch. So to do that, basically hit your orange plus button. We want to create a group where I can upload the animals from an EID reader. So the two compatible brands are the Agrident and the Agrident and the TrueTest Datamars. And basically, you go in here and it'll actually mention here which ones are compatible, and click on this, and it'll pull in the file from the EID reader, and then you just take those animals and attach it to a treatment record. So that works super well. Considering it's a dairy audience as well, I should probably mention what we're some of the things that we're working on. So one of the things that we're working on, and we're actually have a number of in I suppose in a beta project, is we're integrating with the dairy parlor software. So we have connected up with a number of dairy parlor software, including Dairy Master, Delaval, Gia, Pearson's, Keto. There's a few others. We're still in a testing phase, but we're in process of. So if you're a farmer who if for example you have Herdwatch or a dairy parlor system and a heat detection / health sensor system, then where we're getting to is that you can enter the information once in Herdwatch, and we'll update those systems and then pull back the relevant information from them. So on the dairy side of things, we'll update the parlor, say this cow is now calved, or this cow has been dried off, and we were pulling back the daily milk recording data. So we have a number of power systems that are, I suppose, in testing phase really. And if you're interested in becoming a tester, please let us know. Reach out after or during this or after the webinar. But we're also integrating with the heat and health sensors. So the likes of SenseHub, Datamars, MaxTech, Moonsys, all those different systems, we're actually pulling them back. And I see another question here about SenseHub. So we're currently working on that integration right now, to try and pull again so you don't have to record your services or calvings in two places, that they'll just both talk to you in the background. So sadly, that's work in progress. So hopefully over the next, definitely a couple of months, anyways, if not a couple of weeks, we'll have major progress there.
Great. I think that's all our questions that have come in, that they've all been answered anyway, James, unless you have anything else you want to go through.
I don't believe I do. It's still, well, I hope it's beautiful even when everyone else here. I'm happy to answer any more questions if there are any. If not, get out and enjoy whatever bit of the sunshine is left.
Well, there's not much down here anyway, I can tell you that for nothing.
Never
Right,
rains around
so
Scotland.
we might keep going. So we're coming to the end of it there. I might get you to stop sharing there, James, and I'll finish up very, very quickly. Can you see the PowerPoint?
I can't yet. No, it's showing a black screen there.
Let's try again. All right.
Yes, we're also looking at ATL as well, Andrea.
Is it sharing now? Doesn't want to share.
Yeah, it's like sharing now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so just to finish up, if you do have any more questions, you can use that message feature anyway that James was on about in the bottom of your screen. But we will be at shows coming up. So in Ireland, we're going to Charleville show this weekend for Saturday and Sunday. So myself and the other Katie will actually be there. So if you do have any other questions, make sure to call up to the stand. And then in the UK, we were obviously just at the Royal Highland there the weekend gone, but we'll be at the Great Yorkshire Show and the Royal Welsh Show in July. So do put those into the diary, and make sure you call up to the team there in the UK if you have any questions. Always remember we have the refer a friend scheme, so you can get €100 or £100 off your renewal every time you refer a friend to Herdwatch. So if you refer any farmer and they create, it doesn't even have to be a paid account, they can just create a free account and download their herd and stuff on their free account. You can get €100 or pound off your own renewal. So it is an easy way to make money and make savings as well. And you can refer as many as you want. It doesn't have to be just the one. So keep that in mind. These are the ways you can get in touch. You can see our phone numbers at the top of the screen there for Ireland and the UK. James mentioned the help center there, help.herdwatch.com for all those articles. If you just put that into your search bar, it'll bring you straight through to it and you can search for anything on there. And also, like we've mentioned, the chat feature in the app, the messages down there on the bottom right hand corner of your app screen will allow you to send a message directly to us. So do use those. They're a great source to get information and get help fast. We hope you've enjoyed. Thanks for joining us again tonight. We'll try to keep these webinars going. They're a great way for you all to get your questions directly to us. I want to thank James for joining us tonight and doing a very thorough demo. So thanks very much, James. And thanks to Katie in the back, Katie Rabbit, who has been answering all our questions. So thanks very much to you guys.
Thanks, Katie. Thanks everyone for joining.
Great, guys. Well, like James said, enjoy the rest of your evening and we will see you next month for hopefully another webinar. But until then, guys, talk to you soon. Thanks.